Hello students. Today's topic is some important technical terms in the description of flower. In last topic we discussed the part of flowers which arranged in conditions. Here we discussed types of flower, position of flower parts on a thalamus, types of ovaries, etc. So I started types of flower. Types of flower: complete flower and incomplete flower. Incomplete flower, when flower having all the 4 holes, calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium, is called complete flower. You know that 4 holes means calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium present in round shaped or round series. Mostly all flowers are complete flowers. Next, incomplete flowers. When one or more of the whole, for example calyx, corolla, androecium or gynoecium, are missing in flower, then it is called incomplete flower. Incomplete flowers are present in rarely. Next type flowers are perfect flowers and imperfect flowers. You know that mostly flowers are bisexual. Bisexual flowers are when they have both androecium and gynoecium are present in a flowers called bisexual. Bisexual is called perfect flowers also. So in easy way, when both male and female parts present on a flowers called perfect flowers. You know that male parts is stamens called staminate and female parts called pistillate. So when staminate and pistillate flowers are born on a same plant, this condition called monoecious. Next is imperfect plants. When androecium or gynoecium one present in a flower called imperfect plants. Imperfect plants are also called dioecious plants. One important condition of plants present in polygamous. When bisexual and unisexual flower present on a same plant. Repeat it again. When bisexual flower and unisexual flower are present on a same plant, this condition called polygamous. Polygamous condition is the rare condition. Mostly plants are monoecious or dioecious, but some plants are polygamous. The next is relative position of floral part on a thalamus. Here we show that which positions relative all parts of flowers on a thalamus. Thalamus is a arising part of flower which arises stems or connective link of flower and stems. On the basis of relative positions of floral parts on the thalamus, flowers are three types: hypogynous, perigynous, and epigynous. These parts show the position of ovary, which type ovary present in the flower. So this flowering structure, hypogynous, perigynous, and epigynous. These all holes are present in these parts. First is hypogynous. When the sepals and petals are inserted below the ovary and attaching the thalamus, or ovaries are totally open, called hypogynous position. So that these are petals, these are sepals, both are below the ovaries. This position ovaries called superior ovaries. Examples are tomato and mustards are present in superior ovaries. Next type of perigynous. Some plants or some flowers thalamus has cup-shaped structure. When any flower, petals and sepals and stamens are inserted on a rim of cup, or thalamus are closed in half ovary. This condition called perigynous. In easy way, when thalamus covered half ovary or half positioned shape or cup shape structure which arises petals and sepals called perigynous. This type ovary is called semi-inferior ovary because ovaries are half covered by the thalamus. Rose, strawberry, peas, etc. contains perigynous type floral diagram and semi-inferior type ovary. Next is the epigynous. When thalamus completely enclosed the ovary and fuses the upper side of ovary, both part of thalamus, and in this part arises petals, sepals and stamens also, or these parts, petals, sepals and stamens arises above the ovary is called epigynous. This type ovary is called inferior ovary. Apple, cucumber are contain inferior ovary. So these are the superior ovary. When sepals, petals contain below the ovary, these are semi-inferior ovary. These half covered by the thalamus and half part arises petals and sepals and stamen also. Next is inferior ovary, then ovary all over covered by the thalamus, and petals and sepals and stamen also arises above the ovary. This conditions ovary called inferior ovary. Next is the symmetry of the flower. Next topic is the symmetry of flower. Symmetry of flower are actinomorphic, zygomorphic and asymmetric. Symmetry of flower decided the condition of flower or position of flowers. First is the actinomorphic symmetry. When flower can be divided into two exactly equal halves by a vertical section passing through the center in any plane, it is called radial or symmetrical or regular or actinomorphic symmetry. Mustard, tomato and dianthus plants present actinomorphic symmetry. So this structure, the position of flower is upside. When cut the flower in vertical region or longitudinal region, then it is equally divided or part is the equal. So here these cut when is these equal side, all over parts divided in equal side. So this position flower called actinomorphic symmetry. Next is the zygomorphic. So this structure, one side flower are completely and other side flowers are incompletely. When a flower can be divided into two similar wholes by a vertical sections, one plane only, it is called zygomorphic or bilaterally symmetry. For example, pea plant or Pisum sativum or cassia plants contains zygomorphic symmetry. In actinomorphic symmetry, cut of any side 1, 2, 3, 4 all over equal, but in zygomorphic cut only one plane. These it is equal, but in all or is not equal, so it is zygomorphic. Next is asymmetric. So that asymmetric plants, when a flower cannot be divided into two similar halves by any vertical line passing through the center, called asymmetrical or irregular flower. Canna and Maranta contains asymmetrical flowers. Next is the estivation of sepals or petals in a floral bud or thalamus with respect to other members or the same wholes is called to be estivation. So the mode of arrangement of sepals and petals in a floral bud or thalamus with respect to the other members to the same whole is called estivation. Estivation are many types. First is the valvate estivation. Firstly, we define what is the valvate estivation. When the members of a whole are in connect with each other by their margins without overlapping or turning is called valvate estivation. For example, Brassica and caltrops present valvate estivation. So this structure, these are the petals or sepals. If we guessed these are petals, so it is petals, and this we guess it is sepals, so it is sepals. Estivation present in sepals and petals are both. If mostly petals are sepals number 5 or 6 or many. When parts of sepals or petals arranged in holes but both parts are not overlapping or these margins are not overlapping with each other. They are only contact. These type estivation called valvate estivation. Here we show gapping are present and their margins are contact with given a gap. This position called valvate. Next type estivation is twisted or contorted estivation. When the members of whole rolled up in such a way that one margin of a member cover a margin of next member and other is covered by one. This type estivation called twisted estivation. For example, China rose and lady fingers. So this structure, one margin are inner and other margin are overlap with. Next is one margin are inner and other is overlap with other. Next is one margin are other and next is overlap in other. So all members of sepals and petals are one margin covered in another members. This type estivation called twisted estivation. China rose, lady fingers and cotton's flower present this type estivation. One are covered, other are free. One are covered, other are free. Next type estivation are imbricate estivation. Imbricate estivation, one member of the whole is axial and one is anterior, and rest three having one margin axial and other is anterior. So this structure, two margins, one are totally inner and one are totally outer. So this structure, one margin are totally inner and other are totally outer, but three margins are overlap one margin and other are free. One is overlap and other are inner. So this structure, one margin are inner, one are outer, next three are overlap each other is one side and is one side are free. This type estivation called imbricate estivation. Next is vexillary estivation. Vexillary estivation have 5 petals. The posterior one is largest and nearly covers the two lateral petals, which is turn overlap the two interior petals. These type estivation called vexillary estivation. So this structure, five petals are present. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One petals are upper side covered in both petals. Next two petals are overlap. One margin are inner, one are outer. One are inner, next are outer. Next two short margins are both one inner in upper side and jointed in lower side. This type estivation called vexillary estivation. Mostly pea plant or bean plants present these type estivation, and these type estivation have zygomorphic symmetry. So in fourth estivation, volvate, twisted, imbricate and vexillary. Differentiate then. Volvate estivation is both five margins are connected in given space. Both are free, not overlap or turning. Next is twisted, one is overlap, next is free. One is overlap, next is free. All sepals or petals cover one side and other side are free. This type estivation called twisted. Next is imbricate. One margin are totally covered, other margin are totally outer, and all three margins are overlap to each other. One parts are covered, other parts are free. One covers parts of cover and others are free. So that all three margins, one are covered, other are free. This type estivation is imbricate estivation. Next is so that one margin are largest and covers other two margins. Next two is one side covered, one side free and arranged in a series, one side covered and one side free. Next two very short petals are one side jointed and other side covered. One side jointed and other side are covered. This type estivation is vexillary estivation. Vexillary estivation present in some plants like pea family or bean family, and these symmetry are zygomorphic symmetry. Next is position of calyx. The calyx is outermost holes of the flower and the members are sepals. Calyx also called sepals. Sepals are generally green color, leaf-like, and it protects the flower in the bud stage and help in few times photosynthesis process. Question of sepals are position of sepals. When all sepals are free in upper side called polycephalous structure. When all sepals are free called polycephalous structure, for example brassica or mustard. Next is when all sepals are fused, these called gamocephalous. For example, Danthus. So this structure all sepals are free. So this structure all sepals are fused. So define it. It is the polycephalous. It is the gamocephalous. All sepals are fused with each other and these are the free. So it is polycephalous and it is gamocephalous. Next is the position of corolla. Corolla is composed of petals. Petals are the brightly colorful and attractive parts of flower and it attracts insects for pollination. Question of petals or position of petals. Firstly, we discussed question of sepals. Here we discussed question of petals. Polypetalous, when petals are free with each other, called brassica. Brassica capetis or mustard flower have polypetalous because these flowers all petals are free position. Next is the gamopetalous, when petals are united or jointed each other, called gamocephalous. For example, Epomia. Epomia is present gamopetalous because these flower all petals are united or jointed. So this structure, it is the polypetalous because petals are free with each other. And show this structure, petals are jointed with each other. So it is called gamopetalous. It is polypetalous because petals are free, and it is gamopetalous because petals are jointed or fused. So complete the explanation of position, calyx and corolla, estivation, symmetry and position of ovary. In next video we discussed position of stamen and shape of calyx and corolla in the flower. Today's homework is question first. Show the structure in some flowers, estivation condition of petals and sepals. Write some examples which present valvate and twisted estivation, imbricate and vexillary estivation. Next is define the superior, inferior and semi-inferior ovary with the help of diagram. So with diagram. Next is draw the structure which shows symmetry of flowers. What is actinomorphic, what is zygomorphic and what is asymmetric. Next is define polycephalous and gamocephalous. polypetalous and gamopetalous. Write other example of flowers which present polycephalous and gamopetalous flower and related with incomplete and imperfect flowers. So here we stop this topic, and next topic, the position of calyx and corolla, shape and size of calyx and corolla, and position of stamen. Thank you. Have a nice day.